My dad was a pro soccer player, played for Iran in the '78 World Cup. Ever since I can remember, since the day I was born, I was kicking around. And
left-footed ball again into the box. Eskandarian, the one-timer, he scores!
A very quick tempo is going to be important.
Eskandarian! His third game with the Galaxy and his second goal. He's been a Red Bull killer in the past. He's done it again. 1-0 LA. Early days.
Like, I can't tell you how many nights I spent like staying in, not going to parties or hanging out, and literally doing like sit-ups and push-ups and sprints like by myself until it was dark out. When you look at a guy like Mkhitaryan and what he's been able to accomplish in Europe and on the world scene, it truly gives hope to all Armenians. When I was coming up, like I said, no one even knew what Armenian was. They didn't even believe me that it was a country. I'm a huge Arsenal fan, so obviously when he signed for Arsenal, that was a huge sense of pride for me. I'm very supportive and wish him nothing but the best, and really proud of everything that he's accomplished. Finding success is hard. Keeping success is much harder. But my favorite player of all time is Ronaldo, but the real Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo, R9. Favorite goal is the goal I scored against Real Madrid. We played him in a friendly sellout crowd, 72,000 I think, and we tied them 1-1, scored a goal against Casillas, so dream come true. As Armenians, we have to continue to support each other. I thank you guys for everything that you're doing. I'll continue to kind of carry this flag as long as I'm breathing, and do whatever I can to represent all of us as best as I can. So thank you guys, and yeah, hopefully this inspires the next future footballer that I'll grow old and fat and cheer for in the stadiums. I've played against Messi and Ronaldo, so like you can't compare those guys. Playing with Beckham for me was incredible. Not just for the technique and the type of player he was, but the type of person he is too. I always say one of the top players I ever played against, and we were only 20 at the time, is Andrea Pirlo. That guy was unbelievable, the way he was able to boss the game without even breaking a sweat. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
Welcome to Zartonk Media. We're a new age, independent Armenian multimedia news outlet, and today we have none other than Alecko Eskandarian with us. Alecko, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys.
Alecko, let's start with your upbringing. You went to the Hovnanian School in New Jersey. Can you tell us about that experience and how important being Armenian is to you? Along with that, the role Armenian schools in general and Hovnanian in particular play in shaping Armenianness.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I talk about my childhood or my background, I think I have to start with my parents first, because both my parents were born in Tehran, both Armenians, and my dad was a pro soccer player, played for Iran in the '78 World Cup, and afterward got a contract with the New York Cosmos in 1978. So shortly after that is when my parents moved here. And then I was born in '82. So I was born here, but of course my parents were immigrants in the country, didn't speak the language. So very much grew with Armenian culture at home, even though I was in New Jersey. And yeah, just grew up with it, and it's my first language. And of course, when it was time to go to school, we had a small Armenian school here, Hovnanian. And yeah, that's where I went for 10 years of my upbringing. So I had a very interesting balance, because I went to the Hovnanian school and I had all my Armenian friends, and I had, I think, 8 people total in my grade. And then I played soccer in my local town, in my city, with all kids of all different backgrounds, and none of them knew what Armenia even was. So I had a very interesting childhood of kind of getting the best of both worlds, but also being a little bit confused too.
In that vein, Alecko, you come from a footballing family. Your father, Andranik, played for a number of clubs. He represented Iran in the World Cup. He played alongside guys like Pele, Carlos Alberto. How big of a role did your father, Andranik, play in shaping your love and passion for the sport?
Huge, huge. More than just as a soccer player, though. My dad was, my hero growing up and taught me so much about life and about responsibility and being a good person, being a man. And, I'll forever be grateful and indebted to him for everything that he passed down. But I think for us, it was, soccer wasn't even like a question whether we would play, it was in our blood and we loved it. And my mom, of all people, she probably watches the most soccer out of all of us. She's the one that calls me with like news or updates and things like that. So literally everyone in our family, and I have an older brother, Ada, as well. So ever since I can remember, since the day I was born, I was kicking around. And luckily my brother, who was 3 years older, was already at a more advanced state. So every day, just around the house, from the backyard, I was competing with him. And it definitely helped my passion and my development. But in terms of my competitiveness, that's a whole different level. I don't think anyone in my family probably has it at the level of it that I had it, which is borderline overboard. But it's just something that's always been in my blood.
Very interesting. Alecko, you're one of the few Armenians who have made it to the pro level. What advice do you have for other Armenian athletes with similar aspirations?
Yeah, it's not easy. There are so many different pieces of advice that I could pass down. I think most importantly, it's be a good person, because at the end of the day, the better you treat your friends and your family and your teammates and your coaches, the more people are going to want to help you as well. And it's just going to, be good karma. Good things happen to good people. It's not a surprise. But in terms of the level of discipline and work that you have to put in to get to that level, it's something that you can't really explain until you get there. And I think too many kids these days, they almost take it for granted. They want success right away, right? And as soon as things get hard or uncomfortable or they lose confidence, they're quick to to shy away or make an excuse or, not want to look like they don't belong. And the truth is you have to be very vulnerable. Like, I can't tell you how many nights I spent like staying in, not going to parties or hanging out, and literally doing like sit-ups and push-ups and sprints like by myself until it was dark out, or watching videos and tapes and trying to I played in like men's leagues and I played with little kids, whatever it was. Like, I was always playing and just trying to get better. And I'd mentioned a little earlier about my competitiveness. That for me was the key, because at the end of the day, when you face failure, and in whatever it is in life, it's either going to knock you down a few notches or it's going to start a little fire inside to be like, I want to get better at that. And when it came to soccer, I was always like if I lost a game or if I didn't score a goal or whatever it was, I couldn't sleep at night. And so I can't explain why I had that, but for me, that's an important ingredient to success. So for the next generation, I think you got to find whatever you're passionate about and don't quit. Like, keep on going no matter how many trials and tribulations you face. You got to keep going until you find success. And by the way, in many ways, that's the story of the Armenian people, like we've gone through so much as a people, as a society. And I think that's something that we should take pride in knowing that we're never going to give up.
Definitely. Going off of that, in your opinion, do Armenians have more opportunities now to become professional athletes than before?
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, obviously my dad was like, patient zero in terms of kind of being the first guy to really break onto the scene and establish himself as one of the world's best players. And when you look now, and I had a little bit of success, and some other guys that came before me and after me had some success. But when you look at a guy like Mkhitaryan and what he's been able to accomplish in Europe and on the world scene, it truly gives hope to all Armenians that there is talent there. And I think it's a different conversation now, because when I was coming up, like I said, no one even knew what Armenian was. They didn't even believe me that it was a country. And so it was a huge learning process to kind of gain that respect and try to educate people as much as possible. But I think around the globe, a lot more people know that Armenians are talented, and especially in sports as athletes, we're gaining more and more respect each year. So more and more doors are going to open that way.
Very, very cool. What was it like for you as an Armenian player in the MLS? How was the support? I'm sure that there was support at every city and in every stadium.
Yeah, no, it was great. It's something that I take a lot of pride in. I almost wish I did more to show how proud I was and am to be Armenian. But yeah, it was an interesting journey. Obviously, I left college early to go pro, so I was still a kid, 19, 20 years old when I joined the ranks. And I had a huge chip on my shoulder. My rookie year wasn't the best, and that I didn't get many opportunities. And then my second year ended up being probably my best year, with scoring a bunch of goals, winning the championship, and being named MVP of the finals. It for me was a huge monkey off my back of kind of showing the world and the country what I can do, but also represent every Armenian out there like me that is striving to be on that stage. But the support was awesome. I would say every game that I played in, I always noticed at least one Armenian flag somewhere in the stadium, and that brought so much pride to my heart to be able to see that. But it's also funny to me because I meet so many Armenians who don't know that I even speak Armenian. Like they think I'm more Americanized and not as proud, I guess. I don't know, but it's always funny for me when I'll see an Armenian flag and I'll go talk to them and I'll speak in Armenian, and they'll be kind of surprised, like, oh, I didn't know you were that level of Armenian. So yeah, no, it's something that I'll always cherish. And now that my career is over and I'm in the next phase of it, I'm now hungry for who the next top Armenian athletes are in their sports, and support them in any way that I can.
Initially, I mean, I'll never forget the Red Bull celebration at DC United. But moving on from that to the latter days of your playing career, you had a brief stint at the LA Galaxy. Tell us about that. How gratifying of an experience was it playing in LA in front of such a vibrant Armenian community? For me as a young kid, and I'm sure Armenians everywhere, just seeing an Armenian last name dawned on the back of the jersey, that IEN, was a huge thing for us. It made us so proud. So yeah, just can you expand a little bit on what it meant playing in Los Angeles and how that experience was?
Incredible. I have a lot of family in LA, so being out in LA was a dream come true. And yeah, the only regret is that it was so short. Obviously got a career-ending injury just a few games into my career with the Galaxy, and it was tough because I think I scored 2 goals in the 3 games that I played, and I felt like this is the perfect fit. I'm in the perfect city with the right team, and I felt like I was almost having a resurgence in my career to get back in with the national team and do some big things. But life throws you curveballs every now and then, and so unfortunately I got my last concussion and couldn't continue playing any longer. But even though it was short, I had so much pride being on the field, like you said, having the IAN on the back of the jersey, and being able to connect with so many Armenians in the LA and Glendale area that I still talk to this day. And those are lifelong friendships and memories for me.
Aside from your father, Andranik, Alecko, you were essentially one of the first notable Armenians to break through into the MLS. What was that like for you?
It was huge. Like I said, all my life, since I can remember, growing up in New York, New Jersey, from when I was really, really small, no one even knew what Armenia was. And it was such an interesting, paradox for me, because I went to Armenian school. I was surrounded by Armenians. I went to Sur Vartanan's Armenian church. So I had kind of a pocket of all Armenians. And then when I was with my older friends, whether it was with in soccer or whatever, high school, the first question, obviously with my name, Alecko, was like, oh, what kind of name is that? Where are you from? So because of my name, I learned to deal with that question a lot growing up. And it became a source of pride for me to never shy away from like, even though I knew people wouldn't know what Armenia was or where the country is or any of the history or the genocide or anything, I kind of took responsibility and took it upon myself to tell people and never back down from it. Always be proud of my identity and be proud of being different and having a different name. And if I honestly look back, I think I take just as much pride in introducing Armenians and Armenian history to other people. I take as much pride in that, the amount of people that I've taught what Armenian is all about, than anything else that I've accomplished. Because for me, telling our story and how we represent ourselves and our history and our education, that is just as important as anything else. So I'm fortunate that I had that platform to use my sport to elevate and continue to tell my story. And yeah, that for me is something that I'll always be very proud of. And I'm not done with it yet. Even now, and being on the front office side of things and on the business side of things, it's no different. I still get the same question of, your name sounds different. Where are you from? And I'm really, really proud to spread that message.
I guess, Alecko, segueing back into your playing career, you represented the U.S. on many youth levels, under 17, under 20, U23, including capping for the men's national team as well. Did you ever receive an invitation or consider playing for the Armenian national team?
I never did. Looking back on it, I wish I had. It's kind of tough though, because in all fairness, when I was coming up, like even under 17 U.S. national team, the Armenian program, I think even the federation at that time, I don't think was very established. I don't know, what kind of resources they even had. But yeah, it was kind of a sore spot. I know Iran reached out to me a little bit because obviously my dad played for Iran, but I very much identified as an Armenian. So when the invitation came from the U.S., there was really like no other option. But yeah, looking back on it, especially with how the national team is now, I wish I could face those choices again today, because I honestly think I'd probably choose to play for Armenia and help elevate that national team. But yeah, it's interesting how it was just a different time back then, and what can you do now?
In the last 5 years, it seems that Henrik Mkhitaryan has become the representative of Armenians in soccer. Do you have a relationship with him? Do you guys speak?
No, we've never met. I'm a huge Arsenal fan, so obviously when he signed for Arsenal, that was a huge sense of pride for me, because that was my dream, right? For me to play for Arsenal one day. So to see another Armenian play for Arsenal was like a dream come true for me. I've never met him. I don't know him directly, but I think we have the same circle of friends and we know a lot of the same people. So I'm very supportive and wish him nothing but the best, and really proud of everything that he's accomplished.
You've managed New York Cosmos B. You've assistant managed Giovanni Savaresa's New York Cosmos A. What are your plans moving forward? I know earlier you mentioned you're involved in the front office type things. Do you plan on going back into the managerial route? Can you just elaborate on that?
Sure. Yeah. So after I was done with my career, I went back to school, finished my degree, and then I coached for 5 years professionally, like you said, with the New York Cosmos. And for the last 3 years, I actually transitioned into the front office, where I'm working at Major League Soccer in our headquarters in New York City. And yeah, now I'm more on the contract side, the business side, the management side of rosters and budgets and salary caps and all those things. And to be honest with you, as far as my future, I think I have some different options, but I feel really comfortable in pursuing something more in the field that I'm in currently, whether it's being a general manager or sporting director of a club someday. But as of right now, I'm just trying to learn as much as I can from some great people around me in the office. And yeah, in terms of coaching, that can always happen as well. I have my A license and had a good amount of success. Gio still calls me once a week to get my opinion on things. So I'm still very much attached to that. But soccer's in my blood. I love the sport more than anything. And I'm at a point where I want to learn as much as I can about all sides of it and open as many doors as possible for the future. So that's my goal now.
On that note, Alecko, what's your relationship with the FFA and Armenian soccer? Since you have coaching experience and you've showed interest in general management, would coaching the men's national team be something you'd be interested in, or would that be something you'd want to pivot to?
I would love to. I recently connected with some of the new leadership at the Armenian Federation, actually at like the start of this pandemic, 1 or 2 months ago. And we had a great conversation about hopefully hosting them down in New York one of these days. And I've gone to Armenia the last few summers as well. So next time we'll connect, and whether it's something official or whether it's indirectly, I'll always do whatever I can to help Armenian football and the Federation and see what we can do there. So it's positive to start now having conversations. I know there's been a lot of changes and turmoil and politics and things like that in the past, but for me, I come from a very sincere place. Like, my heart is in it just to help as much as I can. And like we talked about, I don't know if there are many or any Armenians that have the experience that I've had in all these different fields. And so I feel like I have a lot to offer to bring back to the Armenian community. So hopefully it works out.
Staying on the Armenian national team, what are your thoughts on it? The Armenian national team seems to go up and down. They're very inconsistent. They seem to have very positive players, but play to their competition and have a difficulty competing at the top level. I mean, they'll beat teams like Greece and Bosnia, but draw against Malta and Liechtenstein. I mean, what are your thoughts on Armenia qualifying for the Euros or the World Cup? Is that something you foresee in the near future?
I hope. It's a dream. It's a dream for sure. And obviously, it was only a few years ago where we were really, really close and felt like we were turning the corner. But it's not easy, especially qualifying out of Europe. It's really, really difficult. And I think the most frustrating thing as a fan now is, when you make these strides in football, right? The way I say it is like you put like notches in your belt. For every time you get up, you can't now get relaxed and think that you're good enough. There's always competition that's working even harder, and now is going to take you even more seriously once you have a little bit of success. They always say, finding success is hard. Keeping success is much harder. And I think with Armenia and our youth and this generation of footballers, they have to understand that, with the success of someone like Mkhitaryan, there's going to be more attention and more, they're going to take you more seriously. So you have to work even harder to establish yourself and prove yourself. And in some of those games, like you mentioned, it seemed like it was a mental collapse because we have the talent, we have the physicality, we have all these things, but mentally being strong and being disciplined at the next level is the difference. And until we create an environment in Armenia, in our youth system, that teaches that and allows them to grow at that level. And once you grow mentally, you grow in confidence. So when things get difficult and you're playing against a tough team and you're not doing so well, it's all mental about keeping yourself in the game and taking you over the edge. So I think that's the next step for our youngsters that we should be investing in and giving them every opportunity to succeed. But it's not going to be easy. Even if you do all the right things, there's still no guarantee that you will qualify and be successful. I mean, you look at Italy didn't qualify for the last World Cup, and you look at the history that they have. So it's not easy, but I'm hopeful that we just give the young generation every tool that they need to succeed.
Moving on to general soccer-related questions, Alecko, would you mind listing your ideal five-a-side team?
Oh, that I've played with already, or just in general?
Of players you played with, against, it's up to you.
I mean, if I go with guys that I've played with or even against, that makes it harder. If I go with guys that I played with or against, I've played against Messi and Ronaldo, so like you can't compare those guys. playing with Beckham for me was incredible. Not just for, you know, the technique and the type of player he was, but the type of person he is too in the locker room. Such a great guy and a good leader and very humble the way he carries himself. So I'll always appreciate him. I always say one of the top players I ever played against, and we were only 20 at the time, is Andrea Pirlo. That guy was unbelievable the way he was able to boss a game without even breaking a sweat. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And a hero of mine that I played against, and it was a guy that I had poster on my wall when I was a kid, is Yuri Djorkaeff. And Djorkaeff was the guy that gave me hope as an Armenian. Like, even though I had my dad, Djorkaeff was, you know, a hero of mine. Seeing him play for France and for Inter Milan, he was the guy that I idolized as a kid. So it's been such a pleasure to play against him in MLS and have a nice little friendship with him, because he has an apartment in New York City as well. So he makes the cut as well. But my favorite player of all time is Ronaldo, but the real Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo, R9. He was always my favorite player growing up.
I guess that concludes our general questions. We have a quick fire segment as well. We'll be just asking you kind of questions and just respond with the immediate thought in your head. The first one was actually Messi or Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay, toughest opponent you played against?
I'll say Alessandro Nesta.
Most talented teammate?
Most talented teammate. I will say Clint Dempsey.
Childhood idol?
We'll go Ronaldo.
Favorite goal you scored?
Favorite goal is the goal I scored against Real Madrid. We played them in a friendly sellout crowd, 72,000, I think. And we tied them 1-1, scored a goal against Casillas. So dream come true.
You're an Arsenal fan, so Chelsea or Tottenham?
Neither, but Chelsea, if I had to pick between the two.
Henry or Bergkamp?
Oof, Henry. Henry's legend.
Highbury or the Emirates?
Highbury.
Favorite stadium / best atmosphere?
Ooh. That's a tough one. Our old RFK Stadium that I played in DC was awesome because we had like these bouncing stands and everything. But man, I played craziest atmosphere. I played an Olympic qualifying game in Mexico in front of 60,000, and that was the craziest atmosphere ever. It was incredible.
Weaving past 5 players and slotting it past the keeper, or a 25-yard volley?
25-yard volley every time. Left-footed volley.
That left-footed one, yeah.
Who's your best follow on Instagram?
That follows me?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm probably going to offend someone depending on what I say. I don't know. My Instagram actually got like hacked last year, so I had to start from scratch. Prior to that, it was probably like Steve Nash, probably.
Okay. Proudest accomplishment?
I'll say staying true to my identity, my culture, being there for my family, and I'll say going back to school to finish my degree.
Favorite Armenian food?
Oh, I'm a huge shish kebab, but I'll take a sultani kebab. I need the Armenian salad. I need the choban salad. I need some boreg and some baklava at the end.
When in Yerevan, do you prefer hanging out at Cascade or the opera?
Ooh. It's in order: Cascade and then opera.
Okay. Would you
rather win the World Cup or the Champions League?
World Cup. But more than that, Olympics was always like my favorite.
Would you rather be a part of a treble winning side or an invincible side?
Invincibles. Incredible.
And before we sign off, is there a message you'd like to give to our viewership?
Yes, for me, honestly, I just think as Armenians, we have to continue to support each other. I thank you guys for everything that you're doing, but I honestly wish more Armenians would ask me to contribute or help or whatever I can, because it's up to us to now inspire the next generation. And I've never said no to any Armenian that has asked me to do anything. So whether it's, going to schools or even Zoom calls or whatever it is, I think we have to tap into our culture and help each other in any way that we can and inspire that next generation. And I almost have my own regret that I wish I was more proactive in doing more and being more visible in the community. But it's such an honor and a pleasure for me to connect with fellow Armenians. And I'll continue to kind of carry this flag as long as I'm breathing, and do whatever I can to represent all of us as best as I can. So thank you guys, and yeah, hopefully this inspires the next future footballer that I'll grow old and fat and cheer for in stadiums.
I think that wraps it up for us. Alecko, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it, and best of luck moving forward.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.